rigorous breathing and hyperventilation is designed to arouse the serpent force called Kundalini.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're discussing 10 disturbing American cults that are still active.
He knew how to tell us that we were all going to be destroyed very vividly.
For this list, we're looking at belief groups with shady practices or pasts that still allegedly boast membership to the present day. We won't be including officially recognized religions such as Scientology, though some might consider their behaviors to be cult-like. Which of these do you find the most disturbing? Let us know in the comments. Kashi Asham.
I have been given a very special gift. And that gift is the ability to
Kashi Ashram was founded in 1976 when Ma Jaya Sati Bhagavati, born Joyce Green, established a commune in Florida. Years later, the founder was found at the center of serious accusations surrounding marriage and its youngest members. Members were allegedly encouraged to have children so Ma Jaya could take care of more young people. There were cases where the founder's name was placed on birth certificates of infants outside of her family. The religious leader also reportedly made one of her daughters marry a man against their will. There were also numerous accounts of people of all ages being physically assaulted for not doing what Ma Jaya commanded. Her organization still continued to move forward after the leader's death in 2012.
So you take from it what you want to. Symbolic, perhaps. True, perhaps.
Word of Faith Fellowship. There are conflicting reports as to whether people in this organization follow a list of rules that range from asking permission to buy cars to having to ask what their college major will be. But the Word of Faith Fellowship has definitely stirred up a lot of controversy. According to former members, congregants who didn't follow rules were subject to physical or mental torment.
Clearly remember different times growing up when people would literally be chased through the woods and tackled and manhandled and brought back to the church.
Known as blasting within the organization, members were allegedly punished for their sexual orientation, impure thoughts, acting out in school, and more. Over 40 members once came forward to the Associated Press to detail horror stories about what happened to them. To this day, founders Jane and Sam Whaley continue to insist that the fellowship is free of wrongdoing.
And they're going to say he had to do this because Jesus told him.
Correct, yeah.
The Nuwaubian Nation.
Jerry, our tour guide, says he came here from Alabama. The sheriff says most of the other residents come from the Northeast, New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore.
When Dwight York, aka Malachi Z. York, started what would become the Nuwaubian Nation in New York, his followers were instructed to give up material possessions. They were also expected to raise a certain amount of money or face physical punishment. After attracting more followers, York moved his organization to Georgia and built an Egyptian-themed headquarters. After claiming he lived in a sovereign state, local officials arrested him for the reports of what happened there. York was charged with over 100 counts of mistreating young people that were a part of the Nuwaubian Nation.
We build it, it's so beautiful out there. It's a beautiful, peaceful environment where we invite any nationality, any race to come out and visit.
He was sentenced to 135 years in prison for his various crimes. However, York's followers still kept the belief system alive.
So this is the Compound nightclub?
No, it's not a compound.
Oh, it's not a compound? I'm sorry.
The Nation of Yahweh.
Yahweh, 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 Yahweh.
A religious movement begun by Yahweh Ben Yahweh became the source of serious acts of violence. After the group was criticized for promoting violent black supremacist ideals, multiple incidents suggested that members were taking lives. Additionally, multiple people who tried to leave the group were either threatened with violence, brutally assaulted, or even killed. Those who stayed within the group were not safe from punishment. Members who failed to meet quotas to collect money were subjected to physical torment.
They've been investigating for several years, and that's all they can find. So they're on a fishing expedition.
In 1991, Yahweh Ben Yahweh faced jail time for his involvement in 14 murders. His incarceration eventually caused the group to retreat for 2 years before it returned and continued. While current leaders have moved away from the violent teachings, the movement's dark history still remains.
He found a successful philosophy that people would flock to and actually start joining.
The Church of Bible Understanding.
Trimble believes Church of Bible Understanding is a cult started by Stuart Trail, taking people's money with false pretenses for members and society.
American members who left this group reported that their time with this church was exceedingly difficult. Founder Stuart Trail pushed for followers to completely disconnect from their old lives. Once inside, members were expected to give the majority of their earnings to the church. While Trail and the organization profited, they lived in overcrowded and sometimes pest-filled places. Members of the Church of Bible Understanding were also discouraged from getting information from the outside world or marrying at all. Outside of America, the organization was criticized for running orphanages in Haiti that subjected young children to horrible conditions. After Trail died in 2018, organization members continued to practice their faith and kept running homes for orphaned people.
We're just trying to get their side of the story because apparently the church has come under fire for conditions at that orphanage. Can you connect us with them, you think?
No, I don't think I should do that.
The Rajneesh movement. Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh, a controversial philosophy scholar and professor, founded his movement in the late 1960s, early 70s. He dismissed established religions and instead focused on free thought, meditation, and sexual freedom.
Now there are two ways. Either repress sex as it has been done by all the so-called religious traditions of the world, or transform it. I am for transformation.
He also had a marked interest in communist literature, which influenced his teachings. He moved his facility to Oregon in the early 1980s after attracting too much controversy in India, yet found the same hostilities in the States. In order to gain political influence, the movement committed crimes such as mass local salmonella poisoning and an attempted assassination of a U.S. attorney. He was then deported, and the movement's commune was re-established in India in 1985. Rajneesh died in 1990, but the movement, now called Osho, is still very much active.
What's going to happen to your holy man?
Bhagwan had always told me that when things get too difficult for him, he will sit in his chair, take an injection, and disappear.
12 tribes.
If you're not in, you're out. If you're not with me, you're against me. If you want to have a strong identity, create a strong enemy, and then you really know who you are.
Founded in Tennessee during the evangelical Jesus movement of the 1970s, the 12 tribes might seem like a simple, wholesome community on the surface. It aspires to recreate the original Christian church, as depicted in the Book of Acts. However, it allegedly exerts authoritarian control over its followers' lives and promotes strict corporal punishment, reportedly by parents and non-parents alike, which has led to accusations of child abuse.
Tessa remembers being sent out to work on her own when she was just 5 years old.
Sometimes working in kitchens, like preparing food for the whole rest of the community, or in like candle factories. So I remember being like 4 or 5 years old working with this boiling wax.
Once followers reach a certain level, they're allegedly instructed that Jews are cursed for murdering Jesus, that gay people should be put to death, and that black people are naturally servants to whites. The group has often flown under the radar, but there's a lot more going on beneath the smiling and folk dancing.
They control your logic and your thinking, and they control your money.
The Family International.
Berg preached to the hippie generation about Jesus and recruited them to join him in his all-consuming drive to save souls.
The Children of God, more recently the Family International, was founded in 1968 by David Berg and was immediately subject to controversy as it used sex to lure potential members, which was Berg's own invention, which he called flirty fishing. They established colonies worldwide, as many as 130 in 70 countries. The Family International draw their beliefs from the Bible, yet with a heavy emphasis on loving Jesus, which is done through sexual interaction. Over time, there have been a large number of child mistreatment allegations raised against them.
Reportedly, keeping children is a cult policy. While longing for her 4 lost children, Vivian lived here in this small apartment in Sioux Falls, disoriented, unable to hold a job, and subsisting on welfare.
Celebrities such as River and Joaquin Phoenix, as well as Rose McGowan, were partially raised in this group before finding their way out. TFI is still active, albeit as an online community, boasting 1,450 members.
We were trafficked. We were moved constantly. We were never taught anybody's names. So it's very difficult to learn your abusers' names. And
you think that was by design?
Oh, absolutely.
Nexium.
To understand Nexium, NXIVM, is the umbrella company.
Founded in 1998 by Keith Raniere and Nancy Salzman, Nexium started out as a self-help group which offered classes called Executive Success Programs. In 2017, former members urged authorities to investigate, initially for a subgroup within Nexium called The Vow. It was a group of women branded with Raniere's initials and on a rotation to have relations with the founder and recruit members.
Do you think the person who's being branded should be completely nude and sort of held to the table like a, sort of almost like a sacrifice? I don't know if that's a feeling of submission.
In a sort of exceedingly complex relationship scheme. On top of this, in 2018, charges were brought against Raniere and 5 female members for a number of crimes including extortion, sex trafficking, and the list goes on. Raniere got 120 years in prison. As of 2020, a number of groups branched from Nexium are said to be active and recruiting.
We didn't even know that we were being experimented on. We thought we were just kind of learning and growing, but really they were observing and watching how we responded to the lack of sleep, how we responded to lack of food, how all of these things affected our psyche, and we were very weak. We were weak mentally and we were weak physically.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. The Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Every aspect of this family's life, who they marry, what they wear, even what they eat, is controlled by the man they call their prophet, Warren Jeffs.
The LDS Church spawned some fundamentalist sects when the core religion opted to renounce the practice of polygamy. Those who wished to continue the practice branched off, remaining Mormon but on their own terms. Polygamy remains illegal, however, and in 1953, an entire FLDS community was arrested in Short Creek, Arizona, modern-day Colorado City, and most had their children taken away from them.
We were taught from birth that in order to get what they called the highest degree of the celestial kingdom, you had to have at least 3 wives while you lived on earth. And if you did not, you could not reach that highest degree.
A compound in Texas was raided in 2008 after Child Protective Services was made aware of allegations of abuse. Over 400 children were taken from the compound and placed in CPS custody.
We felt like the children out there on the property were in danger, and that's when it became a very large operation.
Leader of FLDS, Warren Jeffs, remains in his position, despite being in prison for life after acts against minors. The sect currently has between 6,000 and 10,000 followers. Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.